It's official. After months of rumors and speculation, Leica just announced the highly anticipated M10 Monochrom. We'll get into all the details and take a look at what's changed from the previous monochrome, as well as the standard M10. So stick around. Unfortunately, I don't have the camera in hand just yet, as they haven't started shipping the M10 Monochrom at the time of filming. But I wanted to get the information out, so here goes. I promise it's going to be interesting, so stick with me. Before I dive into specifics, let's get the basics out of the way first. Yes, this is a digital camera that only shoots black and white. No color. Yes, for real. Fun fact though, all digital camera sensors are actually black and white. They merely measure luminance. So how come just about every other camera in the world is color? Well, back in the 1970s, a guy named Bryce Bayer came up with the idea of covering a digital sensor with an array of red, green, and blue color filters to allow the otherwise monochrome capture device to see color. You might have heard of the Bayer pattern, hence Bryce Bayer. Now, to mimic human vision as closely as possible, the array is made up of 50% green, 25% red, and 25% blue, because human eyes are most sensitive to green light. What this means is that no single pixel is actually able to see all color, just a single one. In order to convert to a full color picture that we're used to seeing, the image undergoes what's called demosaicing, which is a type of data interpolation. What does this have to do with the M10 Monochrom that just launched today? Well, the M Monochrom doesn't have a color filter array over its sensor. This is significant for a few reasons. First, every single pixel is capturing a full tonal range, around 16,000 shades of gray. No interpolation. The result is that the image details are sharper than the number of pixels would indicate. To put another way, given the same number of megapixels between two cameras, let's say one is color, one is black and white, the monochrome will show more detail than a color sensor converted to black and white. You may not believe me, so if you want to see evidence of that, I've linked an article in the description below where I put it to the test between the M-Type 240 and the M-Type 246. Secondly, because color filters block light to varying degrees, each color channel typically needs to have variable gain applied. It's part of the reason why half the pixels are green. See, green blocks the least amount of light. Red and blue knock the light down much further, which means those channels must be boosted more than the green at different amounts. Therefore, you often see noise in the blue channel when pulling up shadows. You've probably heard the term blue channel noise. That's why. Now, in a monochrome sensor, because all the pixels are uniform and unfiltered, no additional gain is applied. The result is far less noise than a color sensor with much higher sensitivity as well, because that base filtration is taken off. So yes, while it is remarkably easy to simply convert a color image to black and white in post, the result isn't quite the same. If you want to dig a little deeper on that or see some real-world samples, I'll also leave a link to my in-depth M Monochrom Type 246 review where I explain a lot of these concepts and show off a lot of real-world examples. All right, now that we've got the basics covered, let's talk about the M10 Monochrom. Now in its third generation, the black and white digital camera from Leica is based off the capable M10P digital rangefinder platform. But unlike the past two generations of the M Monochrom, the M10 Monochrom doesn't share the same underlying sensor as its color sibling. See, historically, Leica has used the same silicon and simply removed the color filter array from the sensor, thereby converting it to a black and white camera. We already discussed how that works previous in the video, so I won't go over that again, but the original monochrome introduced in 2012 used the same 18 megapixel CD sensor found in the M9. The M Monochrom Type 246, which came out a few years later in 2015, had the same 24 megapixel CMOS sensor from the M Type 240. But this time around, instead of using the outstanding 24 megapixel sensor from the M10 Monochrom features an entirely new 40 megapixel chip not found in any other Leica camera, It's making its debut here. That, combined with the lack of interpolation on a monochrome sensor, the jump from 24 to 40 megapixels promises to offer a massive increase in resolving power over the already impressive M10. The two prior monochrome cameras also proved to be more capable in high ISO performance over their color counterparts due to the lack of light loss from color filtration and color noise resulting from per-channel gain. Again, we covered all that. Ultimately, the net result on those cameras was a solid 1.5 to 2 stop improvement in high ISO. We're expecting kind of the same here versus the M10, which means that instead of excellent ISO 10,000, as found on both the M10 and the current 246 monochrome, we should be treated to a very workable, and by that I mean really good, ISO 25,000 or even ISO 50,000. Of course, testing in the real world is going to bear this out, but my theory seems to be backed up by the expanded ISO range now offered on the M10 monochrome, going all the way up to ISO 100,000. For comparison, the Type 246 monochrome maxed out at ISO 25,600. At the low end, rather than stick with the somewhat high base ISO of 320 that we've seen in past iterations, the M10 monochrome drops down to a native ISO 160. This should be a welcome change for those looking to shoot at wider apertures in bright light without having to resort to an ND filter or using a lower quality non-native pull setting. Because the camera is based off the more refined M10P, the M10 monochrome is going to offer a lot of new features for those coming from the 246. This means a thinner body, ultra-quiet mechanical shutter, 3-inch LCD touchscreen, improved optical viewfinder, ability to use the more capable VisiFlex 020 EVF with GPS functionality, faster continuous burst rate of 4.5 frames per second, more responsive live view, built-in Wi-Fi for Photos app connectivity, a physical top-mounted ISO dial, more intuitive menu system, and the new universal 3-button interface now found on all current Leica digital cameras. Whew, it's a lot. For styling, the monochrome's gotten even more subdued than ever. Understated black chrome and textured black leatherette come standard, just as before, but this time around, the shutter release, lens release button, and front function button are now all finished in a flat black rather than contrasting chrome. There's no script or red dot logo to be found anywhere on the camera, only a subtle black on black engraving in all caps that simply reads monochrome. It's in front of the black on black hot shoe on the top plate. Even the dials are devoid of color. No red A markings indicating the auto settings on the shutter speed or ISO dial, just a simple gray to separate this choice from other white painted engraved numbers. The camera looks to be all business. Overall, the M10 monochrome impresses, both as an improvement over the past two generations, as well as a surprise update from the M10 that it's based on itself. We certainly wouldn't have predicted the resolution jump from the color version going to the monochrome version, but hey, I'll welcome the improved imaging prowess from the new sensor. And packing the latest technological refinements from the M10P, like the virtually inaudible shutter, improved high ISO capability, the new camera is simply everything we could have wanted in a modern M monochrome. Okay, so enough specs and what the camera looks like. How does the M10 monochrome actually perform in the real world? Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get my hands on one yet to put it through its paces and really test it and play with the raw files. So in the meantime, Leica has been kind enough to provide high-resolution proof of performance images. So let's run through those. I'll put those up on the screen, and then we'll come back and finish this video up. Initial deliveries of the M10 Monochrom are slated to start shipping in about a week for a price of $8,295. But brace yourself, because just like every other major camera launch from Leica, supply is going to be extremely tight for the next several months. Yes, months. The bottom line is that the cameras are handmade in Germany to exacting standards. This isn't a mass-produced product, and it's not produced in huge numbers. The best approach, if you're looking to get a camera in a timely fashion, is to place a pre-order early. If you wait for the camera to be in stock, you're going to be waiting a very long time because all those people on the list are going to come up ahead of you. My suggestion? Contact Leica Store Miami to get on their list. They don't require any prepayment or deposit, so there's virtually no risk. I'll leave a link in the description below, or you can click here to be taken directly to their website. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you found the video helpful, informative, or educational in any way. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you'll know when we post new content. As always, you can head to red.forum.com for the latest Leica news, reviews, technical articles, and more. Until then, we'll see you in the next video.